Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to start working on my jacket. Let me zoom up a little bit. I've sort of thought about a few things, been percolating, and I definitely want to start by using this piece. I cut it off the main piece of fabric in the last video, and I also packed this container of goodies. And I've just had it sitting there on my desk for a few days, just thinking about it. I've also been onto Pinterest and had a look at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jackets that have been embellished. Oh my goodness, isn't that a can of slippery slope worms of jacket creativity? Oh my goodness. It's unbelievable what the creative folk are doing out there with clothing. So I don't really have a plan now because I got totally confused, and I'm like, right, okay, anything's possible. Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I thought I'm just going to turn the camera on. I've got my color palette. I've picked all the fabrics that I love. I feel like I'm just going to go for it, see what happens. I feel safe in my colours. I was concerned that I was going to head down a path of colours that I would never wear the jacket. So I'm going to try and keep it neutral. I still have pinned on this crochet edge. I also found another crochet edge, slightly bigger one. So I've added that to my pile, and I found a couple fabric, couple laces that were sitting with that. So I just grabbed them out. Whether I use them or not, who knows? It really is just a case of steady as she goes. And yeah, just start stitching. So let's get our feature piece out. I keep thinking I'm going to work on the front of my jacket here. I haven't gone to the back. I'm not sure if I want to work on the back. I know it's a great palette, like space-wise. Heaps of space. But I just don't know if I want to commit to a very big feature back. I'm thinking I want to do, I don't know. I don't want to say it out loud because I could change my mind. You know, like a big feature thing or I don't know. I just need to start pinning, placing. It's handy having my mannequin free. As you know, I pulled apart the treasure hunt seamstress piece, pulled it off the mannequin, and you've seen a couple videos now of me working again on that piece. So my mannequin is now free. So my denim jacket, after I filmed Saturday's video, went straight to that mannequin. And I'm just going to scoot up there past Blurdy's tail. Yeah, and hung on that. So it was good because as I moved past it through the weekend, I looked at this lace hanging off of it and decided I'm definitely going to have crocheting on it. I love the fact that it extends it. I think I can be braver down the bottom and add more layers. I think I can work in a new type of crocheting and continue on. Like, I think I can be a bit whimsical with it. So that's a definite. I've got some beautiful table runners that I have yet to cut up for the medallions because I don't really need them, but I might be forced to do that to get the edging from those table runners that can be used on this jacket. So it's something I need to keep in the back of my mind, that I might need to go further afoot because it's quite surprising the yardage you use. You know, when you start going around hemlines of things, it's quite deceptive. There's no way I can really seal these tips of this fabric fussy cut here unless I apply some glue, which at the end of the day is probably not sustainable because it's on a piece of clothing and will get furry anyway. So I'm thinking I'm going to embrace the furry and just do a gentle running stitch around all of this, attaching it, is what I'm thinking. And then as it frays, it sort of becomes a little detail on the actual fussy cut piece. It's a shame that leaf is missing there. Would have been nice to have that, but maybe I can bury that into a seam so it doesn't look like this, it's meant to be there. You know what I mean? We still have this little guy. Might just fussy cut him out too. It can't hurt to have that little element ready to roll. The other thing I'm thinking of doing, which you're probably going to think, oh my gosh, the girl is getting brave, is cutting away some of the jacket and putting my stitching. You know how I was talking about the camphor here? Look, this stitching, that's definitely going to be here somewhere. I was thinking I could cut away some of the panels and actually have this underneath to give it a layered effect. I saw that on the trip down the rabbit hole of embellished denim jackets on Pinterest. They were cutting panels away and putting lace into the jacket, which was super, super cool. It certainly would make it a cool, comfortable jacket to wear in hot weather because, you know, all the panels were cut away and the back was even cut away. Gosh, imagine if I got brave and did that. Oh, I don't know about that. But at the end of the day, it is just fabric. Don't stress, Corrine. Isn't it funny how I can rip into fabrics at the best of times, but you put a piece of clothing in front of me and I say I've got a blouse that I want to extend the length of it. Because I'm fairly tall, I've got a long torso and often tops are a little bit short. So a nice piece of lace added to the bottom would just give me, you know, 6 inches of extra length. But I never, ever follow through. I just wear the top and it's too short. I pick out laces, I audition heaps of laces, I fiddle around and then I never actually do it because I think, oh no, it looks silly. But yet I can have someone do it for me and be on a shelf for sale, pick it up and go, oh yes, no problems, I'll wear that. Because someone else did it, I didn't. Even when I was making my own clothes as a young whippersnapper, I had a very low self-confidence that the piece was any good to actually wear. And it was homemade. I don't know if that was a teenage kid thing. So all my clothes was pretty much homemade. So whether that was just a silly teenage girl thinking, I don't know what that was all about. I need to trim this out. Definitely needs to go. Don't know if they cut that bit off or not. I don't know. I can nibble a bit more out of there. Oh, there's a pin jabbing me in the arm on the edge here. See it sticking in the air? That's got to go. There'll be an injury otherwise. Does that need to be cut out in there? I think it does. So if that goes right down to the hemline, the bird could come way over to there. and that could sneak up onto the pocket. What do you reckon, guys? Bring it down a little bit. And then as for this cutaway deer I've got, I don't know if it'll work. They had jackets that had really wide pieces here. See this seam here and here? That's what would get cut away, this bit. But on the internet, these two seams were way out here and they were cutting that panel out. My panel's tiny. Maybe it's not going to work. What about that over the shoulder? Could I cut that out? Gee, that'd be a brave move if I did. Is that double? It's a yoke. Usually they're double. Yeah, it is. Oh, I don't know. Oh, gosh. I'm going to cut this away. Look, stop thinking that it's a piece of clothing, girl. Just think of it as another piece of fabric, and you're just building an image on the side. Don't overthink it. Otherwise, I will doubt it. But we've got a month, so pins are easy, aren't they? We can pin it, look at it, think about it. I wish it was like one pocket, one side. I'm seeing this pocket as a bit of a barrier, but I mustn't. I must continue forth. If that comes right down to there. Like, that's not too obtrusive, is it? That's not too bold. Does it look like a crazy lady's cut into a heap of fabric and is trying to apply it to clothing? Of course not. Yeah, I don't mind it. Okay, so if where's my bucket of tricks? If I was to piece some fabrics in around it, like doing some feature stitching, let's just have a little, if that's my feature, what else am I going to do? So what I'm thinking is I'm just going to start chopping little morsels of check fabric. Place it down, take that away for now. Don't complicate things. Oh, so brave. Oh, she's so brave. She puts a square. Oh my goodness. Seriously, you know what I'm feeling? You guys feel the same thing? You're like, I'm sure you'll be thinking, oh, do I not? You look at it, you turn it around 3 times. For some reason, you know, the feeling I'm feeling is when you're making something for someone. Who was it? It was Sonia, who was making a journal for someone. It was a commission piece. And I could just see it wasn't tenseness, but it was the second guessing of all your decisions. Now, if that piece wasn't allocated to a certain someone on a certain theme by a certain day, you just go for it. Normally, don't you? There's no pressure. You just place your fabrics, you just enjoy the process. You don't think twice. But when you start putting pressure on yourself to make something specific or for someone, doesn't your mind do funny things? Mine does. You overthink it. And I could feel it with Sonia as she was going through the process of making this piece of work. And I thought, you know, it's so true. I remember when I was making journals for people, it was just, yeah, because I probably made the mistake of asking what theme, what colour, what preference, you know, and then you'd make a journal. There was one journal I made for a lady. It was a gift for someone who had lost their teenage son. Oh, it was just such a sad story. I won't go into the details. But the flower of the funeral and connection to this child, this son, he was a young man, was sunflowers. So the lady who ordered it from me wanted sunflowers to feature through the whole journal. Oh my goodness. It was the most challenging journal I think I've ever made on so many levels, that by the time I finished it, my heart and soul had gone into it. I was nearly in tears as I handed it over. The lady who ordered it started crying. And then I found out later that when it was gifted to the mother of the son, she was just beside herself. And the brief was sunflowers, but see, a good story takes my mind off what I'm doing here, and I'm just letting it flow, if you had have noticed. The the gist of it was we didn't want it to be full of sunflowers. It needed to be neutral, but throughout the journal were these little pops of sunflower memories. And it really, it was like you'd open up a flip and pull out a tag, and in there was the sunflower. So you were meandering through this beautiful, neutral, toned book. It's hard to describe. And because the colours they asked for did not match sunflowers, it was so hard to link vintage browns and ambers and all those tones with these sunflowers. So it took a while for me to find a sunflower that matched the colour scheme as best I could. It even got to a point where I was altering the sunflowers' colours on a printer to try and put a sepia feel over them. Oh, I'm starting to look at it now and think, stop, change the subject, quick, divert, tension, squirrel. But it was hard. And I think that's what I mean by when you're making a piece that's on order. I like how, Rachel, you make your journals, and then the next people on the list get to choose the journals. So Rachel's not inhibited in any way creatively. She can just go for it. They may say Italian or nature. There might be a loose theme there, and they know what Rachel's work's like, so that they can just sort of let the creative process be without, inhibiting the creation of the piece. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what I noticed with Sonia. She was pushed to make, not pushed, but she was pushing herself to get this particular piece done. It was embroidery, crazy patchwork embroidery. And she was working hard at it, and yeah, I could just feel that she was getting this little blockage of creativity because of it. All right, anyway, I've done it without looking too much. Now I just want to, if I pin it, I'm really happy with that. It's subtle. Is just sort of have a little play with some random things, because maybe we then soften it back with things like this. Keep it soft, and I think it'd be too busy with it underneath there, but there's sort of decisions that one needs to make before one is unpicking it to add in. So I think it loses its effectiveness there. If anywhere, this tatting needs to sneak in, just a little pop of it somewhere, like a little bit on the collar. Yeah. See, and then I've got these little treasures that can be added in too, just to build up interest. Oh gosh, what if I'm only brave enough to work here? Maybe this jacket will be with me for the year, you know? Maybe I don't have to rush it. There's no reason we have to stay. Look at that under the collar. Oh, you can't even see. Look, I'm having a moment up here at the collar. Let me just pull this down. Look at that. I like that. I like how the collar is. Pin it. Yeah, I'm thinking that if you're out there and you're making a jacket and you feel like you just want to take it slow to ensure that you actually wear this thing and you don't just rush it and then go, oh, I don't like it. I'm sure you could have the time to do exactly that because, yeah, maybe it'll come together quite quickly. Maybe I'm falling into a style here that I'm used to and it will just come together. I don't know. One will see. See, I like those buttons now. See, I didn't like them at the beginning. I was considering changing them till I realised they're like studs that have come through the fabric, and if I did, I'd have to mend the hole, which is doable. Then put my own buttons on. Maybe that'll happen. There's some beautiful fabric making button videos out there where you can do embroidery on them. So maybe one day I will be brave and take them off, patch it, and put my own button on. We'll see. Steady as she goes, girl. Okay. We happy with that? Are we happy? I think we are. I feel like we're making progress. So, what I might do is I might use a fabric glue stick to get it seated. If I wash it, it does come off, but it would at least get my direction of it because it's so finely cut. I just want to make sure some key areas sit. Does that make sense? Because once you pick this up and it's sitting in your hand, and so I just want to tack it. And it's areas like that where it goes down into a groove. Yeah, that's better. And this will, of course, wash out and disappear, and it's certainly not going to change the structure. Oh. Look, you can just about count on them, can't you, to participate in every video. I tell you what. Yeah, I think this will just... Wasn't going to apply glue, but it's such a big fussy cut piece. Look how well that's sitting now. It's just stopped wriggling. So you can use these little guys so long. I also use, when I can't get these, because they're always out of stock at craft shops, I just use my glue stick. Yeah. I use art glitter glue, especially if I've got something really fine and I want, you know, a fine tip to get glue in under something delicate. Yeah, see, that's way better. Good. Good, good, good. I mightn't do that one yet. want to get in there and stitch him. Now, speaking of him and him and him and him and him, what are we going to do with them? Are we going to just do some camphor stitch through them? Are we going to go round them? Are we going to make them look like patches? So, you know, overcast stitch. Are we going to do a combination of all of the above? Oh, decisions. Stop thinking about it, girl. I've still got my random little flower on the other side. That hasn't left the building yet. Where is it? There. That's... I really like it for some reason, but I don't know if it fits this. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe here's a thought. We make a different theme on every side of this jacket. Now, settle down, ladies. I can hear some of you out there saying, oh my goodness, Corrine, stay focused. It's going to look horrific if you do that. It's okay. It's just a little idea that popped in my brain that was too funny not to say, just to stir you all up. But it probably would work, you know. This is where I say, trust me. There we go. Little birdie. Just wondering about that edge there. Feels like it's missing something by me cutting it the way I did. Am I going to embroider the little bird somewhat? Too right, for sure. I wouldn't be able to help myself. Gosh, how brave am I feeling? Oh my goodness, I tell you. Why is it just some pieces psych you out? People do too. Some pieces just, you walk round and round and round in circles looking at it for a while, and other pieces just fly out of your head and away you go. It's funny. A clear thought or not. There we go. No pins. All right. I do like it. I do like it. So let's continue here with these little patches. Just a little bit, just enough to hold him down for me. No use wrestling. I certainly don't want to wrestle the pins. Now I can do that. Give it a moment to sort of dry. See, they did cut away this section too on a lot of jackets in here. Oh, I don't know if I'm brave enough to cut away. Be interested to see if there's some ladies that have a go at doing that, cutting away the fabric to reveal. That's really, was that up there? It's going up there. That really gets into your jacket, doesn't it? If you start cutting panels out of it. I saw somewhere they remove the sleeve and they'll stitch in whole new sleeves. I saw somewhere they cut it about here and then that's all lace. Oh, beautiful. So my hubby's on his way back to a house at Burrum to be there for tradesmen that are coming to do some more tasks around the property, and he's on his way and he gets to Gympie and there's an accident on the highway and cars are starting to bank up and he's sitting there and he'd already been there about 15-20 minutes and just going nowhere, so he had a feeling that it was something nasty. and he was stuck. And a few cars were spinning around doing the U-turn and heading back the way it come back into Gympie. And we had heard through friends that there's a bit of a back road that runs parallel to the main highway that you can use to get from Maryborough into Gympie. And it can be quite beneficial when there's traffic. So he rang me and he says, oh, I'm sitting on the side of the road here. I have a feeling there's an accident up ahead. I haven't seen ambulance yet, but there's a lot of police cars heading to the, I'm just gluing off screen here, guys, sorry. Yeah, there's cars heading into the area, and he said, I think it's just over the hill. He said it's like, it's all just very new. Anyway, he'd been sitting there by then 10 minutes and chatting to me, and he goes, yeah, he said there's a lot of people U-turning. So I had a look at the maps, and I found that if he did do a U-turn, isn't it amazing? I could ping exactly where he was. We've got that find a phone function that if you ever lost your phone or it got stolen, you can find, you know, where it is. And I'll tell you another story about that in a minute. Yeah, so I pinged where he was, and I could see that, yeah, if he did do a U-turn, there was a turn just over his shoulder, probably about 500 metres, that he could take that run him along a very old road that probably used to be the road that once was travelled by everyone until the highway was built. I don't know, but it definitely was the one that the locals refer to. So yeah, he does a U-turn. He can't see that. I said to him, look, I'll direct you. You concentrate on the road. I don't know if that was the other way or not, but it looks good that way. So he's concentrating on the road and I'm directing him, and he's going up and down Dale. He's out the back of Whoop Whoop, and he's around here onto a dirt road, a back bit through more Whoop Whoop, and I guess you'll all be wondering what the heck's she talking about with Whoop Whoop. Yeah, so in the end, it directed him back to the highway, probably about 30 kilometres further north, and he was back, you know, on his way. I don't even know what the point of this story was. Oh, it's what I was doing prior to doing the video with you guys. And I was just thinking how great technology was. Anyway, off he's gone, and probably about 10 minutes before I started filming this, popped up on my Facebook site that there had been a terrible accident. A car had gone off the road and hit a tree, and they had shut the highway down to get the helicopter in to airlift the person out. So yeah, and it would have been probably an hour 20 after that initial phone call he sent me to now it was, yes, it's all cleared and everyone's moving, the cars are moving. So technology, hey. And we knew we were on the right trail because coming forward towards him were heaps and heaps of semi-trailers. Now, if anyone on the road is going to know that there's problems up ahead, the truck drivers do, because they're pretty quick to let their fellow friends on the road know that, hey, we've got a blockage detour here, you know. So, and he was having heaps of trucks coming towards him on this little road. So the word gets pretty quickly spread, doesn't it? They all have their radios. So yeah, that was a little bit of excitement. But this tracking, this is what I was going to tell you. Next to our, I need a thimble. I can feel pressure to go through there. And my little itty bitty finger is not going to enjoy having a needle come thrusting up back through. I don't think my needle is, my thimble's in here. Just concentrate for a moment, girl. Oh, so many layers. Yeah, next to our business is a Kennards hire. And the men were telling us one day, I went in there for some reason. I think I needed help with something, and the boys was always very helpful. Whenever we had an issue. You could count on those fellows next door to help us out. Anyway, I went in there and they were all crowded around a TV screen, a monitor. And it was like about 10 of them. And I've walked in and they've all looked up at me and I said, oh, hello, you know, I'm just looking for an extra set of hands to help us next door. I said, what are you boys up to? And they said they'd been broken into that night. And I hadn't even realised, but yeah, they had. And they'd stolen a generator, whoever it was. And the boys, a lot of their gear has trackers on it, like a Find Me, just like the phone did for me when I was working out where Gaz was on the side of the highway. Yeah, so they've got them on this generator. So these dudes have broken in, they've stolen the generator, and they were sitting there watching it go from pawn shop to pawn shop all over Brisbane and the Gold Coast as they're trying to sell it. And as they'd pull up, it'd go real stationary, and they'd Google where they were and like, oh yeah, that's the pawnbrokers at Maruka or the pawnbrokers at Surfers Paradise. And these dills literally drove all over Brisbane trying to sell this thing. And when it got to the end of the day, I couldn't help myself. I went back in and I said, oh boys, what ended up happening? Where is it? And they said, oh, it's back at their house now. So because no one would buy it, no surprise, it's stolen, they went home. I guess you try again the next day. So funny. And they had the address, handed it to the police, and they said the police are there now picking it up as well as arresting them. And that was their entertainment for the day, which I thought was quite amusing. Isn't it good when the little guy has a win? So, as you can see, I am just going to stitch around the perimeter of my fussy cut. Now, there's sections I can see where I am barely catching the fabric. Absolutely just catching it. But I'm okay because I'll come back and stitch these leaves, and there are a few mil even more into the piece. So I believe by the time I'm finished, there will be, you know, plenty there. Plenty holding that little embellishment on. So there's my task, is just to, and they're not invisible stitches. I'm making them actual little back stitches because I want it to really make sure it holds. Where an invisible stitch is really just a tiny itty bitty nibble of a couple of threads that then, oh, this denim's, you know, dense to stitch through. I really need a thimble on. There's going to be blood for sure the way I'm going here. Yeah, so I like the old find the phone business, that technology. It's no good if you've got someone possessive that's using it to track you. By all means, it's terrible. But boy, if someone steals your phone, it is certainly good to be able to have it track them all the way back to the crib and then get them arrested. What I'll do is I'll get to the very end of this little row and I'm going to knot it off because I can do that. And I'm definitely going to stitch that. Ow! Oh, please do not go through my finger. It's a really fine, sharp little needle. What would be really cool and really quick is to get the sewing machine out and free flow stitch it. But we're not going to do that. We're going to stitch it. We're going to slowly stitch it. All right, I'm going to finish that little thread off with a little knot. Gee, I tell you, take your hat off to those folks that embellish jackets and sell them, because boy, that's a tough environment to be stitching through. Okay, let's have a look at what we can do in the way of stitching, slow stitching. What's the time? 40 minutes. Okay, I might just pause, guys. I need to go and grab myself my little thimble. It is by the chair. It's not in here. If I don't, I'm going to have an injury, or a worse injury. All right, I shall pause the video. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Protective wear on my little finger. Nice little silicone thimble. It's getting a few little holes in it from those little mean, thin little needles. Okay, decisions. Are we going to overcast stitch around it? Or are we going to running stitch through it? Running stitch through it and past it? Then I could do stitches this way, that way, and drift. Decisions. Don't think, just do. I'm going to come up past it. Oh, what's happened there? Look at that. My thread has disintegrated. Hold the phone. Is that a poor quality? It did not like getting pulled through that denim. All right, we're moving on to a new thread. This one here. Yeah, this is expensive to buy, this brand. Does that mean it's better? I've got a good sized needle, like I'm making a generous hole. I did even consider getting my Sashiko threads out, but they're white. And I need them to be off-white. Thread the needle. Come on, girl, just do it. I could tea dye them, but that requires effort. And I just want to get stitching. This was the one I'd pulled out actually to do the job. I don't know what made me grab that. That to me, it's very fine. It would have made a really fine stitch. But it's getting to the bottom of the reel. Maybe it's, I don't know. Let's see how this one goes. It could be the fact that I'm pushing through denim. See, that went through like butter. I'll just come back a bit. I had to giggle. Tia from Calm Creations, oh, that looks terrible, sent me a Pinterest picture of someone who had seed stitched a denim jacket. Oh my goodness, you should have seen it. It was just covered in seed stitch, and they used a variegated thread. You guys might have seen it in your viewing of different things that are on Pinterest to do with this theme. Oh my goodness, you should have seen this thing. I sent back a not likely. It would have taken years. Gosh, this could even take years. Oh, gosh, could you imagine doing this for a business? Maybe I take my jacket with me to the retreat, and this will give me something to do while I'm down there. I can stitch on this, and the ladies can provide moral support, because I have a feeling that this is going to take a while, girls. Oh my goodness, I've done one row. So you can take into account then that when you see those mending, when they mend things, and it's just row after row after row, that darning, it's so beautiful. But oh gosh, see, I'm thinking it must take them, See, it's where the seams are and all that bulk. That's where it's just nasty. The rest of the fabric's quite good. If I can shimmer through, I think I'll be okay. You're not even on camera, girl. Let me move my seat up. Oh, I tell you, I've got all out of alignment. That's better. My back's sitting right now. So it looks like it's going to be little rows of running stitch, probably in all directions, like up and down or left and right, over the patches to hold them down. I like that. They're not straight, but that's okay. Use the lines in the fabric, girl, to keep you straight. Look at that. Oh well, first few were crooked until it dawned on me that I actually am stitching onto a checker piece of fabric. Those stitches seem too big. Am I going to be finicky? Like I said, it could be here a while. But that's okay. I'm sure I'll build up confidence in what I want to do on the jacket. So I'll just keep popping back with a video to show you what I'm doing, or if it's something new or I'm just still stitching. Maybe this jacket will just be sit and stitch and hope Corrine has some good stories to tell you. Might have to dig deep into the archives. Do you want funny stories, or you don't want sad stories? Or funny stories. I'm sure something will come along. Always something going on. There we go. I think we got the general gist. Now I'm wishing my little patch wasn't as big as it was. But it's okay. Once I get into the rhythm of it, see, I hit that seam there and the fabric gets really thick. So I think what I need to do is stop at that point and just do stab stitches. Otherwise, I'm going to end up putting too much pressure on my finger joints. And I'm going to get real sick of this project real quick if my joints start to ache. I guess it'll be interesting to have a piece of slow stitch that you're actually wearing, and if you're sitting waiting for someone at a doctor's surgery, you just take a ball of thread and do some stitching on your jacket. You'd be forever. You just add something else. That's funny. Wearable art, is it ever finished? Do you ever finish it? Because you're wearing it. And you see things you might want to do. I'm going to come out a little bit to keep it a bit variegated. There we go. Well, I think we have a plan, my friends. You're feeling brave, adventurous. Gee, that's crooked. But I think it's okay. Like, we're trying to be free-flowing in our stitch. See, then maybe I could be You know, little crosses, little dashes, little, oh my goodness, this could take years. Just finish one task, girl. Get them all stitched down so that they don't fall off. There we go, nice and secure. Knots are going to be very important, aren't they? Because it's clothing, you want to know that it's, you know, fastened. Isn't that pretty? Okay, what else do we need to decide? We're going to stitch that down, so that's just needle and thread. Go back to that narrow little guy, and I wanted to also consider putting a bigger one underneath it. So leave it as the narrow one goes up. Oh, come on. I think I've got a little bit of glue residue on my fingers. So where was that lace that I found? Here. Excuse me as I lean in. This. I have visions of attaching that underneath. Where does it kick in? Just as another layer. I really like that. And if I could get the scallop going in the opposite direction, if I brought that right down, would that look odd? No, I don't think so. Just talk amongst yourselves while I... And the plan was to stitch this one on top, but this one I attach underneath. So it'll help it get that draped feeling. And I've got enough length to do the entire thing. Okay, I'm just going to percolate on that a little bit longer, because I thought maybe this edge could have things like bits of embellishing put on, you know. I don't know, like there's other laces here too that could be. Anyway, that's enough. I've got plenty of homework. I'm going to camphor stitch or borrow stitch, running stitch over those. I'm going to stitch this little guy down, and I will see you in the next video to decide what stitching is going to happen on this feature piece. Maybe I've made a decision then on how I proceed with this edge, but I'm going to stitch this one on. I'm just going to do it. I just like it. I tried the jacket on and it was really cool. Really liked it. And it hung reasonably well too. It just sort of sat there. Like there's a bit of body to it. It didn't do anything weird. So I'm happy with that. Okay, guys. I might leave it at that. I'm going to go and find myself a movie, being that my husband has taken off for a few days to deal with plumbers. So I'm going to go do some stitching. All right, look after yourselves. I hope you have a lovely day, and catch you in the next video. Bye.